With less than 1 month to go before an uncomfortably close election, the Kamala Harris campaign has brought out the big guns. Former President Barack Obama, who delivered the first of many stump speeches for Vice President Harris in Pittsburgh last night, and it was awesome, fierce, and emotional, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I have several clips to show you in this video. President Obama's speech was about 45 minutes long. It was excellent, as most Obama speeches are. He's considered one of the best communicators and rhetoricians in modern politics, alongside President Clinton, who is also going to be stumping for Vice President Harris. President Obama is wildly popular, and even though I think President Biden has been a much better and more accomplished president, particularly with respect to his domestic agenda, than President Obama, there's no question that Obama is more popular and a far better communicator. So having him out on the stump campaigning for Vice President Harris is extraordinary. And so I can't play you the full thing, but I have some excerpts, some very important excerpts, some funny, some fierce, some passionate. But all of them I want you to see. And we're going to start with some of the good ones where he jabs Donald Trump and makes some fact checks about who Trump is.
Because having people divided and angry, he figures boosts his chances of being elected. And he doesn't care who gets hurt. I mean, think about it. Just the other day, we learned that on January 6th, a couple years ago, Donald Trump was told that Mike Pence was in the Capitol about 40 feet from an angry mob chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." And his response was, quote, "So what? Don't boo." If Donald Trump does not care that a mob might attack his own vice president, do you think he cares about you?
It's a great rhetorical question and a great example of President Obama's ability to deliver a message. Some other things that Obama did, which may not resonate with a lot of people, but resonates with a political science nerd like me, is he has given a long overdue flex and fact check about the thing that Donald Trump has the most undeserved reputation for, which is the economy and economic success. President Obama finally flexed the way that I think the Democrats should just get into the habit of doing in a post-Trump world. And it was a fist bump in the air moment.
And the reason some people think, well, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time. So just in case everybody has a hazy memory, he didn't do nothing except those big tax cuts.
Yeah, he's referring to the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the vast majority of the benefits of which went to, the upper echelons of Americans, the millionaires and multi-millionaires and billionaires. And I just want to say this is so important. Time doesn't start anew when a new president is inaugurated. And Republicans really want you to believe that when a Republican president comes into office, they inherit nothing. They're given a blank slate. It's like God in the Big Bang or something. They just, with their own bare hands, they create the universe single-handedly. That's not the case. If you look at economic meta-analyses, and this has been done over the years, Donald Trump inherited a pretty good economy from Barack Obama. As a matter of fact, GDP growth for the first 3 years of the Trump administration were basically the same. It was the same GDP growth for the last 3 years of President Obama's second term, so the most immediate 3 years of Obama until Trump took over. Donald Trump actually lost jobs. He saw a reduction in job growth when he took over compared to the last 3 years of President Obama. And you look at stock market. Yes, the stock market increased sharply under the Trump administration, but the stock market boomed under President Obama as well. And he was right. He had to spend 8 years digging us out of a hole that was triggered by the last Republican administration. And remember, this is so important. 10 out of the last 11 recessions in this country began under Republican administrations, and Democrats have to come in and clean up the mess. So why would we do that again? Why on earth would we reward Donald Trump and the Republicans when what they do is they inherit good economies from their predecessors and within 4 to 8 years drive it into the ground? President Clinton gave a great economy to President Bush, and within 8 years, the economy was plummeting because of the 2007, 2008 financial crisis. President Obama, it took 8 years to get us out of that hole, and then he passed off an economy that was expanding, 75 months, as President Obama said, of straight growth, off to Donald Trump. And all Donald Trump had to do, and all Donald Trump did, for the most part, for the first 3 years, was continue those macroeconomic trends. And that is absolutely the case, while also falling short in terms of job growth. Again, Trump created 1.5 million fewer jobs in his first 36 months than Obama created in the prior 36 months. So Trump was actually deficient in certain respects. Even prior to the pandemic, manufacturing was in recession. There were layoffs. There were automotive plant and factory closures, even prior to the pandemic. This isn't even factoring in the pandemic. So when Trump says, oh, it was a great economy, no, for the first 3 years, by 2019, it was the culmination of Obama-era economic trends that Donald Trump simply didn't destroy outright until they were destroyed outright in 2020. And Donald Trump was president in 2020 during COVID. And the Republicans would never imagine a pandemic occurred on the watch of President Obama in his last year in office. Imagine COVID happened under Obama in 2016. Would these same Republicans who are asking you to give Trump a pass on COVID, would they give Obama or Biden or Clinton or any Democrat a pass under similar circumstances? No. Hold them to the same damn standard. And if you do, they lose every time. So it's good that President Obama flexed on this, that he pointed out that Democrats have to clean up Republican messes. And it would be insane to give Republicans another crack at the title, another shot at the title, another bite at the apple, when recent modern American history has been exactly what Obama says. How about we just reward Democrats? How about we just give Democrats another term? How about we see what Democrats can do when they don't have to clean up Republican messes? Because this is the other thing. If Trump wins in 2024, again, whether you like it or not, the macroeconomic trends in this country are good and certainly better than any other country on earth. Are there still issues? Of course. But Trump in 2024 will inherit those same economic trends that he did in 2016. And he will take all the credit for it. And we will be back in this cycle again. So I'm just glad that Obama flexed on this. I really do. And then he pointed out another fact check, or he made another fact check about a recent Trump claim about the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare.
The other day, his running mate had the nerve to say, Donald Trump salvaged the Affordable Care Act. I mean, Donald Trump spent his entire presidency trying to tear it down. And by the way, he couldn't even do that right.
He's right. That's, again, something to point out, that I am glad Donald Trump failed to take down Obamacare. I'm glad. He tried to repeal Obamacare legislatively through a reconciliation process. It only required a simple majority, which he had. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the votes, even though he had a Republican majority in both chambers. A sufficient number of Republicans, including John McCain, delivered the final blow and protected Obamacare. Then Trump tried to do it in the courts, and he failed in that respect, too. Trump does not and should not get credit, because this is what J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance wants you to give Trump credit for trying and failing to kill Obamacare, and Obamacare succeeding in spite of Trump's attempts to kill it. That makes no sense. That's irrational and dishonest in the extreme. And Obama's right to point it out. And he's also right to say, hey, incidentally, it's also further proof that Trump is incompetent, because even though I'm glad he failed in killing Obamacare, the fact that he tried and failed is a sign of incompetence. It's a sign that he can't do what he wants to do or says he wants to do. Another clip.
But the good news is, Kamala Harris, she doesn't have concepts for a plan. She has an actual plan to make your life better. To bring down the cost of things like groceries. She'll go after corporations that are jacking up prices, just like she went after big banks and for-profit colleges when she was an attorney general in California. And believe me, when she does, nobody's going to want to stand in her way. I remember after the home mortgage crisis, Kamala pushed me and my administration harder than any other attorney general in the country to make sure homeowners got a fair settlement.
So again, he's pointing out that unlike Donald Trump, Vice President Harris actually has concrete policy proposals, even though the media, again, grades Trump on a curve and pretends he's some sort of policy wonk who's hard on the facts and who has consistent policy positions, even though he has flip-flopped far more and far more often than Vice President Harris. She actually has a plan, not concepts of a plan, and she's been doing this for a fraction of the time. Donald Trump has been running for president since 2015. He should be beyond the concepts phase at this point. Then President Obama actually calls out Republicans.
I want to ask Republicans out there, people who are conservative, who didn't vote for me, who didn't agree with me. I had friends who disagreed with me on every issue. When did that become okay? Why would we go along with that? I mean, if your coworkers acted like that, they wouldn't be your coworkers very long. If you're in business and somebody you're doing business with just outright lies and manipulates, you stop doing business with them. Even if you had a family member who acted like that, you might still love them, but you tell them you got a problem. And you wouldn't put them in charge of anything. And yet, when Donald Trump lies or cheats or shows utter disregard for our Constitution, when he calls POWs losers or fellow citizens vermin, people make excuses for it. They think it's okay. They think, well, at least he's owning the libs. He's really sticking it to them.
And that's really what it's about. The MAGA Republican Party hates Democrats so much that they hate Democrats more than they love the Constitution and love their country. That's just a simple fact. That's the only rational reason why so many MAGA Republicans would get behind Donald Trump, especially if you're not a multimillionaire and multi-billionaire. Then it makes sense in a more coldly rational way because Donald Trump's going to cut your taxes if you're a multimillionaire and multi-billionaire. But other than that, the hypocrisy, the double standards, the flagrant disregard for character, which Republicans, as the party of Jesus Christ and personal accountability, say that they used to value a lot. But making all these exceptions and grading Trump on a curve, the only reason that you would do that is because you want to stick it to the libs. Last clip from President Obama. This is towards the end of his speech.
And the good news is that you have candidates to vote for in this election that demonstrate that kind of character, who know what real strength looks like, who will set a good example and do the right thing and leave this country better than they found it. So, Pennsylvania, that is the choice in this election. It's not just about policies that are on the ballot. It is about values, and it is about character. So whether this election is making you feel excited or scared or hopeful or frustrated or anything in between, do not just sit back and hope for the best. Get off your couch and vote. Put down your phone and vote. Grab your friends and family and vote. Vote for Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States. Vote for Tim Walz as the next vice president of the United States. Vote for Bob Casey and this whole incredible Pennsylvania Democratic ticket. Help your friends and family members and neighbors and coworkers do the same. Because if enough of us make our voices heard, we will leave no doubt about the election outcome. We'll leave no doubt about who we are and what America stands for. And together we'll keep building a country that's more fair and more equal and more just and more free. That is our task. That is our responsibility. Let's go do it. Thank you, Pittsburgh. Thank you, Pennsylvania.
So there you go. Again, you should see the whole thing. It's about 45 minutes long. He's funny. He's passionate. He's fierce. He's angry at times. You know, President Obama is notoriously very stoic. Did not show anger nearly as often as our current president, Scranton Joe. He gets pissed off during the speech, and really in a good way, because I think he understands the stakes and he's trying to successfully convey them to the rest of us. So again, great speech. He dunked on Trump. He fact-checked some of the biggest lies and myths about Donald Trump, and he made an affirmative case for Vice President Harris as well. And he called out Republicans for their hypocrisy and their abandonment of values, all of which I greatly love. And in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.